Hey, what is up, everybody? So coming to you today, we're doing the weekend, or not. Okay, we're doing the 2020 mid-year top 10s. I'm sorry, guys. We are going to be looking at the my second favorite division in boxing. Well, my favorite division in boxing, but my number 2 division in all of boxing in terms of the best division. We'll look at the top 10. We'll jump right in. Nobody has dropped out as of yet in the top 10, so nobody to talk about that has dropped out. We're just going to look at, instead of having we have a 3-way tie for 9th instead of a 2-way tie for 10th. Give me 1 second. And in that 3-way tie for 9th, the first guy we're going to look at is former world title challenger Kubrat Pulev, who's still lined up to challenge for the unified heavyweight title, as he is the IBF's mandatory number 1 contender, and he's supposed to be facing Anthony Joshua next. Currently, Eddie Hearn's trying to get that fight done. I think Eddie Hearn desperately wants Joshua to fight with a crowd, and I think that's what the delay is and what's been putting it off. But, this fight should happen before the end of the year. I think Pulev's got a puncher's chance, but I really don't think he has overall a very good chance of beating Joshua, unless Joshua is just completely looking past him, which, hey, he made that mistake before with Andy Ruiz, but would he make that with Pulev with so much sitting on the table? I doubt it. But again, Pulev has a puncher's chance, but I think he's going to get knocked out before the year ends, and that'll be it for him most likely. Also tied for 9th now is former world title challenger Michael Hunter of the United States. Well, Michael Hunter, his contract with DAZN was not renewed, so he's currently a promotional free agent, and he's looking to get back in the mix and fight anybody. He hasn't fought this year. Coronavirus has kept him out also, but he's willing to fight whoever wants to get in the ring with him. He's currently, his highest ranking is number 4 in the IBF, so I think he possibly could get into some kind of an eliminator, but we're just waiting around to see what goes down with Michael Hunter. But I'm hoping he gets a top 10 guy before the end of the year. But if he doesn't, I think he's just going to end up staying busy and fighting whoever. I think Joseph Parker would be a good option. And there's some other guys, but I'm not sure he's going to get a fight like that. So I would lean towards he's probably going to get somebody out of the top 10 just to stay busy opponent, and he needs to keep winning to move up. But I'm hoping it's an eliminator that he gets. Lastly, still tied for 9th is the former world champion Alexander Povetkin. Povetkin's got a huge fight coming August 22nd. He's going to be squaring off against Dillian White for the interim WBC title, and if he wins, he's pretty much has a WBC title shot next. Whether it's against the winner of Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder 3, or if he fights somebody else for the vacant title or gets upgraded to full champion. So he's coming in the underdog against Dillian White, but I think he has a good chance of pulling off the win here over Dillian White. It's close to a 50-50 fight for me, but I think White is rightfully the favorite, but I don't know. I think Povetkin's got a good chance of winning. So going to be a really good fight August 22nd. If I had to pick, I'm going to say Dillian White pulls off a hard-fought decision, but I wouldn't be surprised if Povetkin got a decision here or even knocked Dillian White out. I really think either guy can knock each other out. I think either guy can win a decision. So going to be a good one August 22nd on DAZN. Also, our next at number 8 is the former WBO champion Joseph Parker of New Zealand. Well, Parker's been in talks with a lot of different fighters out of New Zealand, Junior Fa, and just some other fighters that aren't big names, just to stay busy. So I think he might take on one of those. He might take on one of those kind of to stay busy, because he's right there to fight in a WBO final eliminator at some point, because Alexander Usyk is going to get a shot at the WBO title next at the beginning of next year, which puts Parker in position to compete for the vacant or to challenge to become a final eliminator to become the number 1 contender. So a lot of opportunities there. I think Parker's probably just going to stay busy, take on a guy local, and get a win and move forward. Next, and still number 7, is the WBC interim champion Dillian Whyte. He hasn't fought this year. Coronavirus has kept him out. It pushed back his showdown with Alexander Povetkin, pushed that back quite significantly. You know, they got pushed back a couple times. Now the fight is on, though. August 22nd on DAZN. Dillian Whyte is going to defend his interim title against Povetkin. It should be a good fight. Like I said, I think it's going to be 50-50. I'm picking Dillian Whyte because he's the favorite, and I do think he's the younger of the two and can pull this off, but I really think it could go either way. I wouldn't be surprised if Povetkin pulled off the win here and a new champion was crowned. But we'll see. Like I said, August 22nd on DAZN, and he has everything waiting for him if he pulls off the win. He's lined up to face the winner of Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. I think if those guys don't want to fight, I think the WBC is going to have to uphold it and strip them. And, you know, strip the winner of that fight, and Dillian Whyte will become the full world champion. So a lot riding on this fight with Povetkin for Dillian Whyte. Can't wait to see it. August 22nd on DAZN. Next, and still number 6, is the undefeated and former undisputed cruiserweight champion of the world, Alexander Usyk. Usyk is still being rumored to be facing Derek Chisora, likely in October, but nothing is concrete on that. He's trying to get a fight in before a mandatory title shot. He says he's going after his mandatory title shot against the winner of Anthony Joshua and Kubrat Pulev next, and you know that's going to be the beginning of the year, so that really could throw off the Usyk's chance of fighting Joshua. Joshua might end up giving up the world title if he beats Pulev, of course, which I think he will. But he might give up that title, allow Usyk to fight for the vacant title early next year. So, you know, a lot of stuff going on there. Not for sure he's going to face Derek Chisora, but I think there's a pretty good possibility he fights Chisora next. And if he does, I think he's going to beat Chisora by a decision and stay undefeated and push forward with his mandatory title shot next year. Next, and still number 5, is the former 2-time world title challenger, Luis Ortiz. Ortiz he doesn't have anything going on next, but he is currently number 3 in 2 of the governing bodies. The WBC and the WBA have him ranked pretty high. So Ortiz is trying to get anybody to fight him, as he usually is. He's still the boogeyman of the heavyweight division. You know, it's going to be tough with his power and his boxing ability for him to get a good opponent. But Andy Ruiz has notably said he's interested in a fight with him. I really think these two guys could lock horns at some point and soon. I don't know if it's going to happen by the end of the year. I know Andy Ruiz is trying to come back very soon. But I definitely think the fight's possible for next year. So we're going to see, you know, but Luis Ortiz probably just going to have to stay busy for now. And that's all he's probably going to be able to do. Next, and still number 4, is the former unified heavyweight champion, Andy Ruiz Jr. Well, Andy Ruiz just planning to come back to stay busy. He might be coming back as soon as August and staying busy, you know, trying to get back in the mix. Ruiz is currently number 4 by the WBC and the WBA. Personally, I do think he could be on a collision course with Luis Ortiz for the end of this year, early next year, with the winner to become a mandatory number 1 contender. But we just got to wait and see what happens, because we haven't heard anything yet on exactly who he's going to fight. But I think Ruiz is just going to take on somewhat of a stay-busy opponent and move forward towards next year and getting back in title contention. Next at number 3, dropping 2 spots from number 1 at the beginning of the year, is the former longtime WBC heavyweight champion, Deontay Wilder. Wilder, in February, rematch Tyson Fury. He got knocked out in 7 rounds, got completely overwhelmed, and stopped in 7 rounds by Fury. First loss of Wilder, officially his first loss of his career. Tough one. He's complained a lot that it was this or that Fury's gloves is an issue, you know, but his main complaint was the outfit that he wore to the ring was too heavy and it wore his legs down. So he has a mandatory 3rd fight due. That's supposed to be coming out before the end of the year. Right now, Bob Arum's projecting December 19th, but with the coronavirus, we just don't know. I know they want a crowd for that. We just have to wait and see how we contain the coronavirus, but That could be going down. If they rematch, I got to favor Tyson Fury going into the third fight. Of course, Deontay Wilder has a puncher's chance of pulling off the upset here and knocking Fury out. But I just think Fury has dominated most of their first 2 fights, and he will win the third fight, in my opinion, but we'll see. Next at number 2, moving up 1 spot from number 3, is the unified heavyweight champion of the world, Anthony Joshua. Joshua is still supposed to be fighting Kubrat Pulev next in a mandatory title defense. And then after that, it looks like he has agreed in principle to 2 fights with Tyson Fury in 2021, although mandatory title fights might hold up both fighters. So, so we'll see how that works. But I know Eddie Hearn's trying to get a crowd for Joshua and Pulev. That's why I think the lag is going on. I think they're going to fight sometime in the fall, October, November. I think Joshua is going to knock out Pulev pretty convincingly and push forward towards 2021. And then finally, still number 1, new number 1, moving up 1 spot from number 2, is the newly crowned WBC heavyweight champion of the world, Tyson Fury, the undefeated Tyson Fury. He came in February, rematched Deontay Wilder. This time left no doubt as he pummeled Wilder, stopping him in 7 rounds and scoring the biggest victory of his career and becoming a 2-time heavyweight world champion. So big time win right there. Fury is supposed to be fighting Wilder in a third fight, a rubber match, later this year. As I said, December 19th looks like the date. And if he's victorious there, it looks like he's agreed in principle to 2 fights with Anthony Joshua, although in order to hold on to all the belts, both guys have mandatories due. So I'm not sure if that's going to pop off right away, but they got to make it out of 2021 or 2020 first. And I believe Tyson Fury is going to beat Deontay Wilder in their third fight and leave no doubt, but you never know. So that's the heavyweight division and how it's looking right now, guys. That's the mid-year top 10 on the heavyweight division and what could be coming up and what I know. Number 2 division in boxing. Heavyweights are amazing. They're great. And everything's going to be exciting, I think, towards the end of the year. So make sure you're paying attention. All right, guys, that's it. True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.